Yo, what's up guys? Ultimate Relic Guides by me. In this guide, I'm going to be talking a bit about some sheets and all of that kind of good stuff. So if you're liking spreadsheets with a bunch of visual stuff, subscribe to the channel. And like this video, shows me that I have to make more of these. First of all, Relics isn't really the same for everything. So quick recap, what is Relics? Well, Relics is this new artifact-ish looking type of thing that you have on the unit if you go to runes here on the right side. I'll talk a bit about the stats later as well. You do know that you can equip those to 100 units tops. Would be nice if it's a bit more, especially for if you only have like one or two really good ones, then immediately you apply them on a lot of units. But first of all, where do you get those relics? Well, there's two particular places where you do get your relics, which is doing your arena, and you get some upgrades, doing your guild content, and you get some upgrades. But then you also have a few different versions, mainly for bit more late game, where you can get them if you go to shop, if you go to exchange, and if you go to your ancient coins, ancient crystals. You have what is called the dupe shop, and with those dupe things, you can also get relics in there, over there. And you can also buy power-up over here, and this is unlimited power-up buy. You can also get them over here from the crystal shop. Do not buy these. Biggest waste out there. It's way better to just get them from the place over here. But what you can see, or what I've seen on early game on my alt, for example, is that the upgrade materials you get is not that much, because you get 2 relics, but you only get 30 upgrade material. To make it +7, you barely have enough to just even make 1 +7 if everything works. So that is the thing that more late game is more aiming towards getting those over here. And then I would aim more for the power-up relics rather than for the relics itself. But the moment you're more pay to win, you start buying more of those relics. But what you can do with this is, yes, you could buy power-up relics if you have some good relics, which I'll talk about which ones are the good ones in a second. If you pay to win, you just buy as much as you need of these and all of these always. If you're free to play, it kind of depends on how many dupes you get and if you'd rather get LD scrolls from it. But then again, this relic could be bad, but on the other side, this could be another Darien, Baladion, whatever useless Kabila unit that you get in there that you already had a million times. You could also go for the blessings early game, but then again, a blessing could also be a double unit that you don't really necessarily need, or 2 units that you both need. So it's not necessarily that your blessing is going to be the best choice out there for early game. So I would say for late game, definitely try to get more of the relics and the power-ups in until you at least have a good base of relics. Early game, I would probably, well, you're not getting that much dupes early game, so don't focus on this that much. Early game, if you have a bunch of dupes, I would throw them in the relics power-up stones, if you have good relics. If you don't have any of the good relics, you could choose to buy a relic here and there, just to try to get those good relics out there. If you already have good relics, I would just throw them at blessings or at this. And what are, of course, good relics is the big question. Well, first of all, few starter tips. I did already go for a few. Buy all of the resources every month. Yes. Also, if you're an early game account, try to get at least a relic on the main set of HP, defense, and attack to a +6. That is, in most cases, not that hard to do. And then what do I mean with the base stat? Base stat, I do mean this one over here. So this is a +12. This one's very lucky. But try to get at least one of those, even if it's like a good one or a bad one, doesn't really matter too much. But at least have something for every base stat. Mainly HP and attack are important. Defense is a little bit less important. Also, as mentioned before, never use your crystals, and do understand which one can be good and which one should upgrade, which I do explain in this video later as well. Then a few facts. If you have 1% damage up, which is the relic over here, this relic is a lot stronger than this relic by just pure damage output. Like, sure, for an RTA unit, that second relic is a lot better. But just simply for damage output on a Lucian or a Julie or even like something like a Federica or whatever, this will do more damage because that 1% damage up is actually very, very strong. Another one to keep in mind, which is very interesting, is that if you have your HP on the Nigong, for example, if we have this one over here, that is actually the perfect example that I also used in here. This part does go over your total HP. This part is just added from your base HP. So keep that part in mind. If you can hit this threshold, let's say 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times or something like that, and then you have an artifact like, let's just say, no, I think that this is the best example, this one. So if you have attack, and then your speed goes into attack, and let's say you're a 375 speed, you will get 6% attack over your total attack. So that means for a Sonya or for your Agrius or any of those units will be really insane. In this case, if I place this, which is a little bit awkward of having attack in there and HP in there, but this is still by far my best relic, which is also seen over here with 91, because it does give a lot of stats of HP to pretty much all of my high-end speedy units. Sure, I have a similar one-ish over here, but it is a +9. The other one is simply better because this I can reach 2 times, whereas the one over here I can reach 3 times. Like my fast units are over 375, and 375 is including base speed, including the lead, not including a speed buff or anything. So that is what you got to keep in mind. Next one, these are the relics, and also how do they work, or what are the tiers and what does it work? So this is the one that I think a lot of people will be most interested in and having as a screenshot. I will also post it under the video. Let me just make myself a little bit smaller over there. So what do we have over here? I will go over each individual one where I explain a little bit more about it. In this slide, I'm just going to be explaining about the tiers. So we have a God tier and we have a Great tier. Those 2 tiers are the only 2 that I actually do recommend for upping your relic. So that's actually, you see 3 over here, which is the God tier for PvE, God tier for PvE and also PvP, and then God tier for PvP. God tier for PvE is the one where you have your attack going into damage, and that's also with a attack itself. That is the one that I showcased before. That is this one that's for me only a +6. Then we have the other one, which I do mention over here, which is your attack and then your attack going into, or your speed going into attack. That is pretty much the counterpart of this, where in this case your speed would go into attack as well. This would be crazy for PvE as well, mainly because a lot of units that are semi-speed would just simply get like 4% of total attack over their attack already, which is crazy good. And then we also have the other part, which is similar to this, but then it would have the HP main in here. And it would go for HP in HP itself. So this is the nimble one that's over here. So I have one that's the one that is actually over here, which is the Great tier. So that's how you have to look at it, what it all is. Does it mean that the niche tier you shouldn't upgrade? Well, the niche tier I would only upgrade if you already know the specific units or multiple units that you would like to place this on. The meh or very specific tier, I would similar, like if you really have like a specific LD5 or a specific unit in mind, up those, otherwise don't. And then you also have a bunch of just don't use that at all. Another thing to keep in mind is some people would say it's like, oh, this recovery might be really good. I'll talk a bit in a second about that as well. So let's move on to the first one, Conquest. So what do we have for Conquest? Well, we have the God tier PvP over here. But we also have the side ones where you have the wrong main stat. So if you don't have this one, but you don't have any PvE artifact, then it still could be best to have an HP main and your attack going into damage, having more flavor than just having a pure on like attack base with like nothing else helping for PvE. This part for PvE is more important than this part for PvE. I can tell you that much. Well, this part is just for your damage dealers on max HP. However, keep in mind that a lot of these units, if you were to go max or speed into max HP, it might add more tankiness to your unit and therefore also add more damage. This one is kind of niche. It is kind of good. Some people would say like, oh, it's good. But to be honest, Copper and Dozer, they're not super common units these days anymore. So is it really that good? In my opinion, not really. And I would not really use those if you have those on the wrong main. And in this case, the wrong main is fine. In this case, the wrong main I would not do at all. So that's pretty much that. This is the God tier. I've shown 6 units over here, but it could be legit any nuker in the game, any PvE unit in the game, even your Prilia, even your, I don't know what, your Shaina Martinas, everything can use this one. It's crazy good. Moving on to the next, Resolutes, which is going for damage reduction. Damage reduction, I only feel like is good on an HP main and then damage reduce. However, this is also one of those that I mentioned before. If you go for certain speed or even certain defense and your defense transfers into HP or your speed transfers into HP, it is often better than just a flat like 2 to 3% damage down. Like you don't get an insane amount of damage down unless you super high roll this. And whereas this is good if you want to make some kind of siege trap, if you want to make some kind of arena defense with a Leo kind of style, then that would be good. Then you also have these. Those are kind of on the super niche part, but it's if you have like a super specific unit, like you could say this, oh, this is good for my Pajana, but it's only your Pajana. Do you really want to waste resource into that? It's kind of like in the midst, right? Similar with this one over here, it's kind of niche. I would only say that this is a great take, but only for your defense units if you play a certain defense like this. If you don't, it's more a niche than a good, actually. Moving on to the next is a Valiant. I guess that's how it's said. There we have the other god tier over here, which is the attack, and then your speed goes into attack plus. As mentioned, for PvP, one of the best things out there, because you often have like a speedy nuker. Even your Julie can really utilize that. It is super strong. I've mentioned a few units over here, but this could also be your Shiho, this could be your Ethna, this could be any kind of speedy-ish style of nuker. Could be a Nasha, could be Barbara, could be Beast Riders, could be so many things out there. We do also have this one where we have max HP going into attack. That is mostly for your hybrid damage dealer. So we're looking at a Chao, we're looking at a Fire Nosuke, we're looking at a Mei Wang, we're looking at a Xingzi, we're looking at all of those kind of bruisers that are not super speed related, but do have a lot of HP in standard, and then you can transfer some of that HP into attack. Can work out if it's like a little bit of a HP plus an attack bruiser scaler. If it is just straight up a Cardinal where you only have HP scaling, it is not as interesting. As mentioned, this one is one of the greatest things for all of your RTA units as well. Even if you have this one like HP and then speed goes into attack, that could be any of your AoE CC units. We're talking Moors, we're talking Okeanos, we're talking, I don't know what, Chunk Punks people might still use that, your Shios as mentioned before, but also your Oracles like Gianna, Sierras, blah, 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 Junos. There's so many good ones in this. The only thing is the moment you have them on defense, it's like, do you really want to throw a defense main on that? That gets a little bit awkward. But these two, crazy good, would definitely up those. And even if you have like a +7 or a +8, maybe try to do them again to get a +9 or higher. Then we have over here Timeless, and Timeless is mainly for your defense scaler. So you kind of can see the thing over here multiple times. The only thing is over here, it is a little bit more niche. Also, I would say if you have one of those 4, especially one of those 3 over here, I would only keep one, and then the other ones is like, do you really want to make another one? Because they kind of just share the same thing. One that I personally have over here is if we are going towards defense, I also have this one over here. So this is the defense over here. Oh, wait, is this a different one? No, it's a slight different one. This is the one where you get max HP, or yeah, you get per defense. Wait, is that different? I think that's different. Maybe I put the numbers in there wrong. Wait, this is... No, this is... oh, wait, it's the other way around. Yep, okay. So this is just giving you more defense. The one of mine is giving more HP. So it's the other way around. It does work in particular kind of for the same units. It's kind of the similar style, but this one getting more defense from your HP is in most cases better. And what I also placed in here are units that also have high HP in general sense. Like your Russian is mostly high HP, your Gojo is mostly high HP, Prajana, Fang, all of those are high HP. And in this one, you also have your Ikaro being decent. So it's kind of just depending on like how, like what you have. Do you use a lot of those? And if you want to up them, they are great, but you only need one of those 4 to actually be used. And you also have the counterpart in which one I have over here. But we get to that one in a second, which is over here, Primal. Wait, is this? Yeah, that is Primal. Did I actually place this one as a should be used, or did I go for a niche? No, it's actually the one over here. I placed this one over here with these units as more tank units. But I actually mistaken. I should have also been placing these units that you see over here. They can also fit with this one where defense goes into max HP, because of course these units, if their defense goes into max HP, is really good. Plus this one is also a little bit more around because you can throw them on any kind of defense style of unit, especially the one with this. But most of the time, if you have a good roll, you would hit the threshold like once or twice on these kind of units, because it's not just pure HP on the unit. You also want to be tanky for defense. Then over here, what you can do with this one is mainly Leo counters. That is where your attack goes into max HP and you probably have very little speed, but it's more niche right there. Then we have the one here at the bottom, which is Primal, which is the best RTA relic out there. Anything like that, I also placed even more units over there. Nearly any RTA unit that with a speed lead or just their speed tower is over 300 speed, so you need to be 285 by yourself, With a speed lead, it is 24 speed less, more or less. At that point, you trigger this twice. This is pretty much the best thing you can do, is just your speed giving you more max HP. Having that on defense is a little bit less good, but having it on attack or HP is definitely good. Well, I would say even attack and defense doesn't really matter. Both of them are just great, but having HP into speed give HP, that is pretty much the best out there. You just want to make sure that you throw this on units that can always reach this threshold at least twice. So if you get a +9 on this, I think then you're looking at a 150. So yeah, that's this one exactly. So you need to be 300 speed. If you were to do it on this, maybe it's not as good, but it's still pretty decent. And hitting that 200 speed threshold is super easy. If you were to get a crazy good one like this on a +12, then hitting this threshold 3 times is possible on your Shihos, Athnas, Sonias, those kind of things. So overall, very good one right there. Then we also have the Restore. I think the Restore one is a little bit of a bait, and that is mainly because, as mentioned over here, only for healers that will heal by the allies' max HP, like a Lulu or a Molly or those kind of things. If you have any healers that will heal from their own max HP, talking about Karnal, Kumar, talking about Tetras also own max HP. Can't really think of any others. I think all of the pure vanilla cookies, they also heal by their own max HP. So you rather get more own max HP, so become more tanky and therefore heal more, rather than just upping this percentage of healing by just a little bit. Then again, you cannot up the healing of these 2 units by having more HP or more defense or more whatnot. If you cannot do that, then a relic like this is good, but it's kind of niche on specific units. And that is pretty much all. Those are all of the relics. So once again, if you go towards this and you don't really know what specific units to go for, go back to the video, you can check a few. But just to have a simple overview of what relics are good and what relics should you be aiming for, these are pretty much the good relics, just to have a simple guide for you. Not going to make this any longer than this, guys. Thanks a lot for watching for this one. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. Maybe I should change some of these numbers over here. But I think in most cases, I let it check by a bunch of guildies and other high-end players. And most people are like, sure, maybe 1 or 2 I would go from like niche to very specific, or the other way around. But in general sense, the good and the great tier are the ones that are important. The other tiers are not as important. Wouldn't really focus on that. Might you ask, what to do with the relics that are not good? Simply just break them down. If you think that it's not worth your relic upgrades, which are actually pretty rare material and very costly, just simply do not up the relic. Break them down and try to get one of the good or god tiers, and then start upping those. Maybe even start to try to double up those to try to get a higher, like if you have a 7 right now, try to get that 9, or if you have a 9 right now, maybe even try to get the 12. But only try that on the good tiers that you know you will use a lot of. Do not waste your relic material on anything that is like, oh, it's very niche, but do I really want to up that, or I'm just trying to get a relic plus just to have a good relic to a +12. If you have a bad relic on a +12 or even a +15, it is not that great. You really want to have those good relics on a decent level. Sure, they might fail a bunch of times. It is pretty darn RNG. Yes, that is definitely the case. But it's still better to have a good relic on a +9 or a +12 than a insanely bad niche don't use relic on a +15. Which also did waste a lot of relic material in the first place. So just simply all of those don't use and very specific. Throw them away. The niches you could maybe keep for the future if you have like specific targets, or just throw them away as well. Well, guys, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you as always in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.